Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be here. We're going to take a look at the next 5 years on how business models, including your own, is going to change. Now, when you think about autonomous systems and the autonomous world, you're probably wondering, what role do humans play when robots do our jobs? And I'm going to answer just that. Now, to take a look into the future, we need to look into the past. And I love this diagram. Now, I would love to see you raise your hands. Did any of you create a website in the 90s? Anybody? Okay, wow, over half the crowd. Now, you probably remember this. You had to have technical skills. You had to have your server, FTP. You needed to have technology understanding in order to publish. But if you did, you could influence the entire world. Then came along the next era. 2004, young Mark Zuckerberg created thefacebook.com, where anybody could publish their thoughts and ideas without technical skills. Frankly, you don't need social skills either, but that's a whole nother speech. And this democratized information, marketing, customer care, and the media industry, peer-to-peer media. And think of all the data that is being created every single second that we can analyze. The next phase, which is here now, is the collaborative economy age. And this is when people get what they need from each other. And these are technology systems like Airbnb and Uber and Lending Club and Bitcoin, where people can get commerce directly from each other, peer-to-peer. And as you've seen in the news, this is upsetting quite a few businesses. Well, get ready. The next phase is coming, but it's not a 10-year gap. It's only a 5-year run, and that's called the autonomous world age. And at the top, you can see this scary-looking artificial intelligence eye and drones, and then, of course, these self-driving cars. So here's all 4 phases. We're going to focus on this autonomous world, which we can define as a future state, because it's not quite here yet, where intelligent technology systems operating without human participation enable new business models in an efficient society. Now, let me give you 3 examples of what's happening. Ford has been a leader in this space, and they have announced that they will have an autonomous taxi fleet by 2021, just 5 years from now, and other car companies are following suit. Uber is quickly moving into this space as well, and you know they're starting to partner with other companies, but they recently acquired self-driving big rig technology called Otto, which you can affix on top of big rigs so they can self-drive. Now, Volvo, who has seen other companies move into this space, and their brand around safety made a lot of sense for them to partner with Uber, and they're testing self-driving SUVs in Pittsburgh this month. It's already starting to happen. Now, the interesting thing about the economics is that everything that we know is going to change. The cost of using these automated systems will decrease. You can see the cost of a San Francisco taxi with a human driver, UberX with a human driver, your own car, which of course you paid for those fixed services. But then these shared ride-sharing autonomous vehicles, the cost of transportation, logistics, are going to radically decrease by just around 20% of its original value. Now, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with my company? I may not even be in the auto industry. Well, when we did this research, we looked at all of the different industries that could be impacted just from this one segment of the autonomous world, these self-driving cars. And we looked around at logistics or cities, retail, finance, and insurance, and we found that there were some interesting things. Now, you're probably wondering, and I'd love to hear from you, what industries do you think are impacted by these autonomous vehicles? Anybody? Yeah, that's right. All of them. Every single industry. And the amount of data analysis that's going to be required for every single industry is quite an opportunity. Let's take a look at some of these industries, and I'll parse out some of the different verticals so we can understand the impacts of these self-driving cars that will be here in full autonomy, rolled out in scale around 5 years from now. First of all, you probably are already thinking taxis and car services will be disrupted, and they certainly will. The car-sharing companies like Uber and Lyft are leading this movement and enabling companies to actually, and people to use these services, and they will deploy self-driving cars. And it does mean, and this is something we can talk about at the panel, that millions of drivers, professional drivers, will be out of a job and will have to find another occupation or take time off. Here's a stat from the United States White House. This is from the economic report around labor. And this is a very, very interesting piece. People react to this in two different ways. I can't wait to hear your reactions. If you make less than $20 an hour, the White House report predicts that 83% of those jobs will be automated. If you make $20 to $40 an hour, the White House predicts 1/3 of those jobs will be automated. If you make $40 or more, very low chance of being automated. This is happening. This is from the White House. Now let's take a look at the auto manufacturers. They have a series of conundrums they must unravel. Many of them will create self-driving car fleets like Ford, and others will add additional services like entertainment on board, media. I can even imagine a business suite. Maybe Ford could roll out there's systems where you could have your own video conferencing, like an office. They'll also offer new forms of insurance, safety, logistics, and even cleaning services. You may not even own these cars. They just might be summoned to you on demand. New business models will emerge for the auto manufacturers. Next is travel and hospitality. Why would this be such an impact? Well, for short-haul airlines like Southwest Airlines, they may find that they're in direct competition with Ford and Volvo. If you're going to take a trip from Las Vegas to LA, rather than avoid the airport, you may just set up the car, take a nap, take meetings, or go overnight. In addition, hotels and motels that are relying on the drivers that are tired and weary to spend the night, they may have to face new business model challenges, as self-driving cars can enable you to sleep through the night. New business models will be impacting the travel and hospitality space. I predict that we might even see Southwest Airlines launch their own version of a branded self-driving car fleet in order to compete with this market. That would be the logical explanation that they could take. Next, insurance companies. One data that I did not bring is that the most common form of death for Americans, 25 to 40, as I've learned, is from driving. It's rather sad. Hundreds of thousands of Americans die from vehicular accidents. I'm sure you probably know somebody. In all of the testing for self-driving cars, there's only been one death. They are significantly capable of being safer than humans because they're not error-prone or messing with Snapchat or Facebook or texting while driving or driving drunk. So insurance companies need to figure out what is going to be their offering when these vehicles are actually safer than human drivers. Cities will radically change. We interviewed companies and cities alike, and most cities are struggling with cars that are circling different blocks trying to find parking. We've seen stats from 20 to 30% of cars that are just trying to find parking spots. In the future, with on-demand systems, on-demand vehicles that are tied to these intelligent systems, they can route people efficiently, even do ride sharing, and people may not even need that car on the way home. So we might see a reduction in actual storage for car parking. Cities might enable more space, green space, and more people space because cities can be more efficient, smarter cities in the future. And then retail. I understand there's quite a few retailers here. Imagine a future, and we're already seeing it now with the many on-demand crowd-based services where the crowd is bringing things to our home instead of going to the store, whether it's Instacart, Postmates Deliv, Google Shopping Express, or Walmart follows suit as well. What we will see as the next phase is that the autonomous vehicles will be loaded up with the groceries and products and brought directly to us, just as we're already seeing every on-demand thing. But I think there's another element that we can imagine where the actual store is the self-driving vehicle, and it comes in front of your house, and you can peruse the different items that you want, take what you need, whether it's produce or electronics or clothes, and then you take it off, and then the digital payments happen, and then that vehicle drives off. In this future, these stores will come to us on a regular basis, less than actually going to the store. So retailers that are already concerned with showrooming, of people going into the retail, looking at things and then buying it on Amazon, the next showroom will be in front of people's homes. So you need to prepare your business models now. And then media. This is interesting. With the driver having more time, they can consume video or play video games But we might see podcasting go down or radio go down because people can actually focus on multiple sensorial things that involve their eyes not being glued to the road. This also means higher bandwidth and new forms of analytics as we track this media in these vehicles. And even telecom will increase. These vehicles will be the second most powerful computer in your house. The first will be your PC or your phone, but the car themselves are going to be digitally wired and very intelligent. It's interesting that you can upgrade the Tesla by upgrading the software and it goes faster. You just need Wi-Fi connection. No gears to change. It's all done through Wi-Fi. And then energy. Most of these vehicles will be self-maintaining, so they'll know to go get self-charged. They may even earn their own credits and get themselves self-repaired. These vehicles will start to look like their own distributed autonomous organizations. That's a term being used, DAO, where they are self-managing fleets. They can accept payments from people and then they can manage themselves. We might even see a fleet of self-driving cars that is owned by robots and not even humans in this radical future. And then of course, the opportunity. As a son, I fear the day I have to ask my father for his car keys because it's no longer safe for him to drive. But in this future, and 40% of the United States are baby boomers, they don't have to lose their keys. They can still be mobile. They're not going to drive, but they can go to the doctor or the doctor can come to them. First responders can come to them, or they can quickly traverse the world. What an opportunity for mobility for all of us that will age. But this doesn't increase the lifespan and the life expectancy and the number of people on the planet as we can live longer and there's less accidents. And then logistics. Even the shipping industries will be impacted. We will see new forms of autonomous systems routing things. Big rigs are some of the highest transportation usage in the United States. Imagine when they're used in an intelligent way, in an autonomous manner. So to tie everything up, you can see this is just a sample of all these verticals that are impacted from just one slice of this autonomous world, these self-driving cars. We did not even touch upon drones or artificial intelligence systems and whatever else comes next. Now, that was a lot of information. So I want to leave you with 3 final points. You know the 4 phases of these digital eras. It's interesting that there were 10-year spans for the first 3, but this next one, it's even coming faster in 5 years. I did not expect this to happen so quickly. I had to shift my career to see these changes as they rapidly approach. So it means we need to move faster when it comes to digital innovation and transformation. So the 3 final points, we're approaching this 4th digital era when robots will supplant, augment, replace human workers. It's happening. This has societal and economic impacts. These self-driving cars and the other technologies will impact every single industry. You must prepare your company now and find not just innovation in your products, but innovation in your customer experience and innovating the next business models for your company. If you thought social media was disruptive or the collaborative economy with Uber and Airbnb, this next wave will be even more disruptive. Thank you so much for your time. If you'd like the full report, send me an email. I'll send it over to you. Thank you for your time.